Welcome to episode 11 of the Michigan Out of Doors podcast. As always, I'm Tyler Mihai alongside Justin Tomei and Steve Wyndham. We're joined by a very special guest today, Brian Anderson from G5 Outdoors. The Michigan Outdoors podcast is available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, SoundCloud, and a video edition on YouTube. Make sure to subscribe so you don't miss an episode. And if you're not already, follow us on Instagram as well at Michigan Out of Doors Pod. And the Michigan Outdoors podcast is proud to partner with Onyx Hunt. Join the millions of hunters who trust Onyx Hunt to help them fill their freezers. Create hunt strategies for your property with custom waypoints, view wind forecasts for individual stand sites, integrate with cell cameras, and so much more. Onyx is essential for hunters to understand property lines, find and e-scout public land and other hunting spots, and all of the other tools to give yourself the best possible chance at a successful hunt. All current MUCC members are eligible for a 1-month free trial of Onyx Elite and an additional 20% off your annual membership. New MUCC members will get a free 3-month trial of Onyx Elite in their welcome email when signing up. To find your current membership discounts, log into your MUCC member portal and click on membership discounts link to see all of the benefits of being an MUCC member. Join MUCC today to take advantage of these offers. And we are back, episode 11. How's everyone doing?
Doing good.
Good.
Good, guys.
Brian, thanks for joining us. We appreciate it.
Appreciate you.
Wasn't too far of a drive, right?
No, not at all. Not at
Awesome.
all.
Good. We appreciate you having it in studio.
Do you use
So-
YouTube music, Brian?
I do. How could you tell?
Thank
Yeah,
God.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Do you
This is an
actually?
ongoing discussion.
You actually do?
Every podcast I start by giving him crap because we're not on YouTube Music yet.
Yeah, I think it's the way to go. I mean, I'm listening more to that just because it's one station, one platform I can listen to. I used to be an Apple Music guy just so my kids can listen to it on Alexa, but they just keep going up and up and up. So I dumped them, and I'm 100% on YouTube.
You were the first person outside of this podcast I've ever met that listens to YouTube music. I thought it was just these two guys.
That's the sound of
a long
vindication.
Well, I still have ads because I'm cheap, so I use it. I use it, but I don't get the unlimited stuff. So it's good.
That hurts.
So it'll be a good discussion. That
All
we
right.
got a YouTube music guy.
All right, so now we have 3 people listening to YouTube music.
There we go.
All right.
The three of us will make the
There you go.
difference,
Yeah.
so.
There you go.
It's worth the edit.
Brian's gonna follow us on there too once you
Yeah.
join. When you
Yes,
put it
once
on
we
there, he's
join.
gonna
be
be
the
our
first one.
He'll be our
So
first
we'll have
follower.
one impression for this episode on there. Cool. All right, well, we want to hop into policy.
Not really, but we can.
Let's do it.
So commission meeting will be the 13th of February, so a couple days after this comes out. A lot of bear stuff on the commission agenda. The Bear Forum went through a lot of these changes in August or September of last year. I can't remember when I went up to the UP. I think there's 4 big regulatory changes. One of them's like changing the date that you can put your tree stand up on public land to coincide with the day you can start baiting, so that you don't have to go back in, make another ruckus after you've started bait.
This is a side note, but that's very similar to one of our resolutions that
Yeah.
we voted on convention. Right?
Actually, yeah. So Zach wrote that resolution. He sent it to me, and I go, "This is actually on the agenda for the Bear Forum." So he sent that onto the department then as well. Our convention is actually before these get voted on, so we can weigh in at that point. But the other big one is there are some pretty substantial changes to the amount of tags for some of the units. The biggest that I can remember is the Baldwin unit, which is like Cadillac area, Northwest Michigan.
And this is bear specific.
Bear specific, yeah. They're proposing an increase of 42% the number of tags in that unit. I don't know what that results in. I want to say it's like an extra 180 tags or something like that. It's substantial. And when the department does these, like for some places, we're lowering the number of tags or keeping them the same, but have like it'll keep the number of, even with lowering tags, will keep the number of bear that actually harvested the same.
Because
we're
of
getting-
success rates.
Yeah, because we're getting more efficient at harvesting bears, and so we may have to lower the number of tags available to kind of keep that happy medium where they want to be. So, anyways, we put it all in our NRC preview. You can check that out on our website, on our blog. Details all of the changes. Some things that we talked about that they're proposing, some that they're not. I mean, one of the things we talked about was like adding a second hunt in the northern lower. Ultimately, the Bear Forum and the department kind of jointly decided we're not ready for that yet. But they put the notes of that in the memo anyway. So that's February 13th. And again, these are just for information. Action will take place the second Thursday in March. The date's escaping me right now. Legislature-wise, we actually have some news to report. They have not really started work on policy stuff yet, but we have committee assignments. So Representative David Martin is going to be the Natural Resources and Tourism Chair in the House. He was the Minority Vice Chair for the past 2 years. And Ken Borton got the Natural Resources Appropriation Subcommittee. So neither is a stranger to the conservation world. I actually think that Representative Borton got into it because of differences he had with some conservation officers in the department in his area. Actually, from his press release, he cites himself as a longtime critic of the DNR.
Oh,
So-
yeah. Wow.
Oh, it
okay.
gets better. I'm going to read his quote here in a minute. So with Natural Resources Appropriations Chair, like he gets first stab at like the department budget. So he put out a press release when his appointment became public, and I quote, "We have a responsibility to protect recreational opportunities for people across Michigan. If DNR bureaucrats don't give up their attempts to raise fees, clear cut forests, and support policies that chase people away from the outdoors, we will zero out their budget and get them out of the way." He goes on for a little bit more. So that's the beginning of his press release. So it's going to be a very, very interesting session. The governor's budget is actually going to be presented Wednesday morning.
First
So,
draft.
Yeah, the first, exec rec budget. So it'll be what she would like to see in the budget by department. She's probably not going to highlight much DNR natural resources stuff. My understanding is like rec passport, something they still want to come back. Maybe license fees in some form or fashion different than we had at the end of last year.
The opt out for rec passport.
Yeah, the opt out for rec passport. Yeah, I say all these
So if
things.
you have
Just
no idea what we're
assume-
talking about, feel free to weigh in and ask like, what the hell are you guys talking
Yeah,
about?
I get so
So-
lost because I do, I'm just
Yeah.
the scumbag lobbyist, so I do this stuff all day, and so I say these things just expecting everyone around me to know. But yes, the recreation passport opt out. So basically now you have to opt in, check a box to opt in. They want to change it so that you have to check a box to opt out. It raised millions more dollars a year for our parks system. So it died.
It also might be a good idea. I know because Brian, we've chatted just a little bit about G5 and MUCC and get to know each other. But Justin referenced someone wrote a resolution, and then now we have time to weigh in on it. And hopefully, with all the new listeners by the G5 crowd, it might be a good idea to explain how our policy process works as a member-based organization, so we can let people know that there is a chance to actually weigh in on these things and let us do the talking for you.
Yeah, so I'm going to give you the very Spark Notes version, but I'm the scumbag lobbyist, but I don't actually get to decide anything that we do. All of our policies are set by our membership through our policy process. It starts with going to one of 3 conservation policy board meetings throughout the year, June, August, December. Then if a resolution passes through one of those committees, it goes to our annual convention, which is the first week of March. If it's approved at annual convention by kind of a bigger representation of our membership,
2/3 majority.
Okay.
2/3 majority if it requires lobbying, yes. If it's kind of just like a philosophical thing, it can just be a simple majority. But yeah, 2/3 majority. Then it becomes our official policy. So this year the big ones we're looking at earn a second buck. We're looking at expansion of underwater spearfishing opportunities. We also got the tree stand one, a couple kind of like philosophical ones. There's stuff about the youth hunt and the changes that they just made to the youth hunt this year, or the Liberty and Independence hunts, I guess, because it's both. So yeah, if you're a member of MUCC, whether individual member, club member, life member, if you're interested in doing policy stuff, you just got to email me and I can help you. I can kind of give you a template. I can't write the resolutions for you, but I can give you assistance as you write them. And as part of the process, if they get through a policy board, they go to the department in this case being the DNR. The DNR provides comments on them ahead of when our membership actually looks at them, so we can see what the DNR thinks about a proposed regulation. For instance, they're not a big fan of getting rid of Hunter's Orange, we found out, unsurprisingly. But
Weird.
that is a
Which
resolution.
is a resolution this year.
Yeah, it is a resolution this year. So
someone submitted that one.
yeah, I suspect that one will not pass.
Yeah, I think that one's staying.
But
It's yeah.
so
We'll
yeah,
see.
that's the Spark Notes version. Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's a
So that's
lot-
what
it's
makes
very
MUC
different.
unique, is that there's not really any other conservation group in the country that is truly grassroots,
Right.
to where we are representing the membership, the outdoors community, and that everybody in the state, as soon as they join, has the opportunity to voice their opinion and have us work on behalf of them and the rest of outdoors men and women to get stuff done. So there's actually a unique one, a sub caveat of that Hunter's Orange piece, where there's a resolution that wants to remove the requirement of hunter's orange if you're bow hunting in a strictly bow area. So if gun hunting is not allowed in a certain unit or a certain GMA or a rec area, there's actually a resolution to say, hey, even though the late antlerless firearm season is going on, this unit does not allow firearm hunting, period. Why should I have to wear my hunter's orange while I'm bow hunting in this area? So there's some caveat to that, but there is an overall.
DNR still posts that one.
I
They actually provided the same comment to both Hunter's Orange ones, which is
they just
we
copy and paste
support
them.
Public Act whatever of 1977
Yeah.
mandating the use of Hunter Orange.
Interesting.
Yep.
So
yeah. So any questions about his confusing talk, just let us know.
No, you got it. No, it's all interesting.
So yeah, governor budget, that's the last big thing this week, or well, next week, but well, this week. Last week, if you're hearing it. Whatever. Wednesday, the 5th, she's doing her budget presentation. So that's always a big time of year because we kind of get the first look at what the department budget's the one we care about the most looks like. But it's going to be really, really interesting because that threat by Representative Borton and the House Republicans to zero out the DNR budget is not an idle threat. There is a very realistic chance that first House budget, it literally says zero for Department of Natural Resources. So
Cool.
obviously it will look dramatically different from that because they have to have something bipartisan in June, and by the end of June, normally the budget wraps up. They're supposed to by Constitution, but I don't know what the teeth are if they don't have the budget done in June.
Is the NRC meeting going to be Kildee's first meeting as chair?
Yeah, it should be Commissioner Kildee's
Yep.
first meeting. I assume he's going to be there. I haven't got any FaceTime with him yet. But I assume he's going to be there, and it is his first meeting as chair. If not, Commissioner Kozad will chair the meeting again, as he was the appointed vice chair by Commissioner Baird. So
yeah, have you ever been to an NRC meeting?
I haven't.
All right, they're interesting.
Have you seen our live streams?
I've been to
Facebook?
I
30
watched
of
some
them.
of the live
Okay.
streams, but I've
Okay.
never been to one of the meetings.
Okay.
I think I've missed 2 NRC meetings in 3 years. So
Not doing your job.
They're interesting.
no, Amy went to one because they were talking about wolves, and she was on the Wolf Management Advisory Committee. And the other one,
I think I manned the video when you weren't there.
yeah, where was I though?
Trappers College?
That might,
Yeah,
that
that might have
was
been it. I was
Yeah.
at Trappers College. Yeah, I want to go back to Trappers College.
I'm going next year.
Are you?
No, you're not.
Yeah.
I know who they're sending this year. Would next year 26?
Yeah, no, 25.
I know who they're sending this year.
Oh, you better be my name.
It's not Steve
It is
Wyndham.
not your
Oh,
name.
dang.
You can always pay for it yourself.
Let's get a scholarship. We'll see.
Trappers College was the freaking sweetest thing ever.
No idea what's Trappers College.
I went to Northern Indiana for a week, and from pre-dawn to 10 p.m. every day, just all in whirlwind, the basics of trapping. So we'd get up, have breakfast, go set traps all day, come back and have instruction for 7 hours. So I mean, it was a week long. It was tough, but it was friggin' the coolest thing ever. So
I bet.
went and trapped some coons and possums, and there were a couple red fox caught, a couple mink, an otter, beaver,
Badger.
throughout all the groups. Yeah, between all the groups are 4 badgers caught. It was the coolest thing ever. So, and he's just jealous.
So our executive director last 23,
23,
and then Justin in 24, they send one of us just so we can better represent that community.
Yeah.
Because trapping is one of the big things as an outdoor heritage. Also, Michigan Trappers and Predator College is a huge partner of ours.
Yep.
And so they want us to get more familiar with the recreation side of it so that we can better represent them at a state level.
Yeah.
No, that makes sense. It's a pretty unknown community, I would say. I mean, even most hunters that's probably a pretty small amount in that community. So it's probably even less and less every year. I mean, just cost of hides and things like that obviously aren't going up. So less people are doing it, and less people to teach.
It was a lot of agency folks.
Was it?
Yeah, from all over the country. I was the only lobbyist, so they were all pretty happy that I was there for the reasons that he just said. Is that I can better represent trappers now when I.
Well, and it's one of those ones that's on the chopping block when you have animal welfare and these groups that come in and they try and talk about all the things they say, but it's one of those things that is low-hanging fruits for that group, and so we're trying to better protect it and make sure it stays here in Michigan.
No, that makes total sense. So
awesome.
So that's policy. My audio's back. So Yeah.
So live stream the NRC meeting on the 13th.
They might be getting, or they may be starting to do that. That would be pretty sweet.
Oh.
They were
Yep.
in here in the office the other day. They go, "What would you do if we live streamed them?" I said, "It would save me a lot of trouble. I would just come to the meeting and hang out."
Yep.
Good stuff.
Well, I do have one question out of all that.
Sure.
I heard the word "earn a buck" and very intriguing. Is that something you guys are pushing for pretty hard? Or
So not yet.
Not in lesson or until we have an actual adopted resolution or policy on it. So
yeah, it's actually earn a second buck.
okay, that would even be fine.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
it is a resolution that one of the members of the National Deer Association, who are a member of us, wrote, and yeah, it would task us with pursuing an earn a second buck program in Michigan, which is actually a fairly big pull because it would require legislation.
Right.
The department has all the tags they need in place, but what they don't have is statutory authority to like do a conditional tag.
Okay.
So it's easier with harvest reporting to actually like implement it, but yeah, they still need the authority in law. So we are not advocating for it yet. And when we don't have a policy on something, earn a second buck, APRs, any other number of things, we just stay out of it.
That's understandable.
We just don't touch it because our membership hasn't
come to agreement.
Yeah, come to agreement.
Yeah.
It's those are touchy subjects. So
Well, yeah, I mean, so this will be something that requires 2/3 majority because
Yep.
we'll have to go and take lobbying action on it. So if it does pass, that kind of sets our marching orders moving forward. And so that's where it's important for the general public, for membership to get involved, use your voice. APRs is one of those things that we can never come to consensus about.
I bet.
There's half the. I mean, I think it was 49-51 last.
It was almost a super majority against APRs last year.
Was it?
When we
Yeah.
did the division vote, it was like 64.5% opposed to APRs
Yeah.
and 30 whatever the remainder,
Yeah.
35 and change.
So there's always that conflict within the membership itself of
Mhm.
ideas and outlooks, and so we, like Justin said, we stay neutral, we stay out of it. So right now there's people on both sides saying, "Oh, why don't you support APRs? Oh, why don't you oppose APRs?" And we say, "Because you guys haven't come to consensus, or you guys really haven't given us the marching orders to do that yet."
Right.
So just like a earn a second buck or whatever it is, we'll see how convention plays out, and then we get to work.
Very cool.
So
Interesting.
yep. For 87 years, that's how we've done it.
So that's the way to do it.
Seems to last so far.
And that's policy. All right. The Michigan Outdoors podcast is proud to partner with Giant Mouse Knives, a Michigan based company born from a shared vision in 2015 to create knives that combine exceptional design, top tier craftsmanship, and a strong sense of community. At Giant Mouse, every knife is crafted with care and purpose. From the first sketches to the final production, the team ensures that each blade meets the highest standards. Whether you're in the field, on the water, or tackling your next outdoor adventure, Giant Mouse knives are built to perform and made to last. Explore their full lineup of exceptional everyday carry knives at giantmouse.com and follow them on social at Giant Mouse Knives for updates on new releases and exclusive drops. MUCC members receive an exclusive 25% off their order with the discount code found in your member portal. Giant Mouse Knives, knives done right.
The story you guys told this morning about them having people sign up from California to get the discount is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is
This is one of our newest partners.
Yep,
Okay.
I'm actually wearing their shirt or the sweatshirt, but yeah, so we get 25. All members get 25% off now, and their knives are very, very nice, and they retail
Nice knives are expensive.
170 to 250 roughly.
Yeah.
And our membership is $35. So if you go and buy a knife, you instantly save $60. And it's only
you just-
$35 to get a membership. So you save 25 and you get a free membership, basically. So
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was cool. We went to see them and hung out with them for a little bit. Just kind of got to hold everything and handle them, and they feel really great in your hand. And I mean, we're excited for the partnership. They're going to be doing some cool stuff with us at our upcoming events in the summertime, and we're actually going to have them on display at Outdoor Rama. So anybody who's coming to see us at Outdoor Rama in Novi, February 20th to 23rd. If you're in the area, stop by. You can hold one of these, see what your membership gets you, and check out which Giant Mouse knife you want to get.
And then one of the co-founders, Jim, is going to be on our podcast at the end of March as well. But yeah, if you haven't seen these knives before, I highly recommend getting one. Just put it in your hand, feel it. It's going to be one of the greatest knives you've ever felt. It's awesome.
I really want a Riv.
Yeah,
I want to
it's
handle
sweet.
one, but
It's
it looks
sweet.
pretty sweet.
Now I need to be looking at my phone going, "All right,
Yeah,
what he's
it-
Well,
talking
that was the
about."
toughest part is we're
well,
sitting there and they went through 30 different knives and I'm like, oh, this is my new favorite. And then they give me the next one. I'm like, oh, that's my favorite. And then every one I was like, these just keep getting better.
Every time I get a new knife, I just carry it until I get another new knife.
That's
And
how
so-
I rock knives
Yeah.
usually.
Yeah.
Never mind. I was going to tell a story, but I'll tell it off camera because I don't want to get in trouble with the state police. So I'll keep that story
Illegal
quiet.
blade.
Yeah, it's semi-legal.
It's on the edge.
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
Yeah.
Yes.
Allegedly, Civivi makes a knife that, while being all metal, does not get picked up by metal detectors.
Oh.
Allegedly. Hypothetically.
You have to do some internet sleuthing to figure it out.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Brian, do you want to tell us a little bit about you, your background, how you got involved with G5 and Prime, and then just
Yeah.
You know,
Outdoor pursuits you enjoy and just kind of, dive us into who you are.
Yeah, absolutely. Brian Anderson, G5 Outdoors, Prime Bows, Montana Rifles. We got a list of them now. So started young. My dad was a professional archer growing up. So I worked at the local archery shop in Goodrich. It's a little shop called Brown's. Started there between 7th, 8th grade, started fletching arrows.
Awesome.
By the time I was in 9th, 10th grade, I was actually managing the shop, running guys much older than me. They probably didn't want to hear some punk kid telling them what to do. So that's kind of where I started it out. Just grew really good friendships, being like, as I said, traveled with all over the country with my dad when he shot. So actually one of our he was marketing manager, came and kind of just brought me on board at G5 as a customer service tech guy, was kind of the local guy to answer calls. And, if you had a problem with your broadhead, back then it was rests and sights. We've definitely grown since then. Progressed into sales. I ran the sales with a couple partners for about 10 years. And just recently, the last couple of years, have taken over the brand management, community management position, working with all of our celebrities, working with guys, doing podcasts, working with guys like you, anything conservation based, anything that's kind of got a direct tie to the brand look and feel. So
Awesome. And how many years have you been there now?
this will be my 19th year.
19.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, you're company man.
Yeah. So it's a good family company. They've been good to me. They've been good to my family. It's hard to get away from that. So yeah, this industry is usually made to bounce around a little bit.
Yep.
And I've been kind of one of the guys that's been staple, and it's been really good. They've been good to me. They're great. Like I said, great Michigan family. So it's hard to pass that up. So.
Awesome. So with 19 years under your belt, can you tell us the whole history, kind of the inception of the company, and give us, that story about how Michigan brand makes itself so big now?
You got it. Yeah. So G5 actually stands for Grace. There's 5 Grace kids, stands for G5, the 5 kids. Biblically, it also stands for 5. So there's a little crossover there.
Cool.
But basically, so it's Matt and Nate that run the company now. Their father was Lou Grace. And the 2 boys actually started G5 together, but Lou's dad started the company, I think, in the mid 50s. We basically do precision grind. So anything that's high end machining, we do it. So they started with so anybody that had a credit card through the 70s, 80s, and 90s, we probably made the little tiny implant that put the embossment in the credit card.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So
Really?
the only competitor back then was IBM. So it was us and IBM. So it didn't matter what language, what character, we were the ones that made those precision pieces. You could fit 100 of them in a thimble. That's how.
Oh, wow.
So basically taking the precision side of it and taking the passion that the Graces had, was basically looked at the MIM process, which is where we started, still what the Montec is today made out of. But it's a molded injected metal. There was a lot of pieces for gun manufacturing and high precision manufacturing for it, but nobody was using it on the broadhead side. So basically Lou and his son Nate kind of came up with this idea, like, why aren't we doing this? Like, this will be a product that's super strong, 99% done, then we can finish up cleaning, machining it, and have it on a product that's going to be very reasonable. It was a little more because back then broadheads were about $40, $30 for a pack of 6, and we were coming out with a pack of broadheads that was going to be $30 for 3. Oh man, it was a pretty scary situation.
Yeah.
But we started at ATA. It was our first show. We rolled up. The first customer we ever had that walked up to us was Bass Pro.
Oh, yeah.
So kind of very lucky. That doesn't happen very common. You usually fighting tooth and nail to get into a place like that. So it started pretty organically. We had a 2-blade B52, which transitioned to the Montec, which is our 3-blade still the staple, still our number one selling broadhead.
Yep.
Yeah.
All stainless one piece broadhead, and it's been great. So we've been able to grow from there. We've got into other categories like the striker, which is a replacement blade version. We've got into sights, rest, all kinds of accessories through the years. And then over the last couple of years, we've really grown the mechanical side. So we started with a broadhead called the Tekken, which turned into the T3. The T3 turned into the Dead Meat turned into the Dead Meat V2, and now we have the Dead Meat V2 and the Mega Meat, which are the number 1 and number 2 selling mechanical broadheads in the market right now. So
That's awesome.
yeah, so it's been pretty cool to see an American-made product, American-made company, with a family base, still doing it out there.
Yeah.
So.
Have you noticed G5, the company, everybody,
Yeah.
whoever, anecdotally, I've seen everybody was shooting fixed blades because that's all there was.
For sure.
And then the Rages came out and the popularity just went. And then I've noticed a lot of the people that I know that were shooting mechanicals have now switched back to fixed. Is that something that's actually backed up in your sales?
Not necessarily. I mean, our number wise, we are maintaining fixed blades, so they're not necessarily growing, but they're not shrinking. So we remain,
Gotcha.
mechanicals have skyrocketed. I mean, it's probably 60 to 70% of the market is mechanicals now.
Okay, so mechanicals outsell fixed.
Oh
blades by far.
It's like I said, it's 2 to 3 to 1, per pack.
Mhm.
So, and like I said, for us, it's probably still 50-50. I think mechanicals are probably finally catching up, but that was going against brands like Rage, like you said. I mean, Rage kind of pioneered that with that 2-blade slip cam, and really grew a hole for a lot of brands to be able to come and be developed over the last 10 or 15 years. So, they've definitely fallen from their spot. But I mean, they still make a great broadhead. I think guys are just a little more, I don't want to say picky, but there's more options out there than there ever were. So you have a lot more options on 2-blade versus fixed.
And I wasn't even saying Rage specifically, just mechanicals versus fixed. Sure. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe it's just me and my friends are weird. We all switch back to fixed blades. So
I'm a guy that has usually both in the quiver, but the last couple of years first 5 years I worked at G5, I never touched a mechanical. I was like, man, I grew up on the Montec. Like that's where I started, like it was one of those broadheads you could just have in your quiver, and not have to worry about it. And it's pretty much exclusively mechanicals in mine now. But I mean, I keep a Montec in there.
What do you shoot now then? What's your preference?
So I love the Mega Meat. It's the biggest 3-blade. I mean, it just produces a huge hole. But we did come out with a 2-blade this year, and I shot my first elk with it, and man, it hammered it too. So I'm going to be back and forth between the T2 and the Mega Meat.
Awesome. Where'd you take the elk at?
Idaho.
Okay.
Nice. So so it was
DIY or
DIY. It kind of grew into something. You still got to apply for that tag, so it's not super easy to get. But we've kind of grew a camp out of some locals there. We basically a couple guys out of Salt Lake that we're really good buddies with. They're actually our sales reps. Kind of pioneered this little spot where we go. Built a camp, kind of started doing it every year. While the local horse handler at the outfitter that was in the same canyon was always helping us getting elk out and things like that. So we became really good friends with him, and he was like, "Why are you hunting here? Why don't you hunt the ranch?" We're like, "There's a ranch, we can hunt it."
So that's all you had to say.
Yeah, that's all you had to say. So we became really good friends with his family out there. Hunt a little bit of theirs, hunt a little bit of public, and it's been, if we can pull tags, we try to do it every year. So
that's awesome. That's how and cow elk? Bull
just
elk?
a cow, yeah.
Okay.
So cow, 66 yards, front shoulder through the back hip. It was like long, it was a cool shot. It's my
That's
longest.
A poke still.
It's the longest shot I've ever taken.
That's
on
a
an animal.
poke.
So
wow.
And you did it with a Mega Meat?
I did it with the T2.
The T2.
Yep.
Okay.
So I was pretty excited to put that one into it. I mean, we worked really hard to have that 2-blade because we're like kind of king of 3-blades. So we wanted to make sure we put everything into it. So I was like, we put so much into it, I'm going to shoot it.
Yeah.
So
Are you shooting a heavy arrow?
Not extremely heavy. I'm not a super light guy, but I'm not a guy that needs to be 500 or 600 grains. I shoot the mid 420 to 450 range.
Yeah.
Enough. I don't shoot super heavy pounded, 70, 73 pounds, 28 inches. So I'm not like an overly, I'm not overly big dude, but just enough to get it where I need it to be. So, I mean, I've had good luck on all my animals this year, so I'm going to continue to, go down that path. So.
Okay. What else did you harvest?
Killed a great buck in Kansas, long overhunted trip in Kansas, 9 days in November.
Wow.
And came back with nothing besides my tail between my legs. My wife's pretty good about that. She'll be like, "Oh, well, it's not any different this year." I'm like, "Thanks, I really appreciate it."
Rub it in.
Yeah, exactly. Put a little thumb.
But you don't
there.
expect me to come home with me?
So the day after Christmas, she gave me the green light to head back down there. I flew back basically 12 hours after we opened gifts with the kids, and within 2 sets, I was able to put one down. So I killed a really old 6 or 7-year-old 8-point.
Nice.
Yeah, it was really cool. It's kind of as, I don't know, say seek one as you can get. We're basically between $1 Million homes and churches like almost downtown Kansas City. So
Wow.
yeah, it's a little different hunting than I'm used to. I've always been, I've hunted Kansas a bunch. I've hunted the Midwest a bunch, and it's always as far away from you get to cities as you can. And
Yeah.
you know, we're driving by these crazy subdivisions. He's like, "Oh yeah, we're going right down there." So it was a good buddy of mine. You know, him and his dad kill monsters year after year after year, and that wasn't my goal. My goal was to kill something old. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, a Michigan boy, if you know, it's brown, it's down. If it's 2-year-old,
That's how we were
it's,
raised.
you know, kind of how we were raised, right? So, so I was able to put that one on the ground. Killed another doe out there, and then I was able to kill a pretty good 8-point here in Michigan with my muzzleloader. So
Awesome. Did you use an actual
actually use a
muzzleloader, or
muzzleloader?
did you use the
No,
legal firearm?
450.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
so
Just-
muzzleloading season. Let's
Yeah,
go.
yeah.
You know, so.
That's awesome. So when you guys are developing stuff, and you got the T2 or the Mega Meat,
Mhm.
how much in advance are you getting to take that out in the field, or is there a whole R&D department? Are they giving it to staff to utilize and go test out, or
Yeah,
how
so
does that work?
it's internal team and then staff. So we usually team up with somebody on a project like the T2. We teamed up with John Dudley on that one. So we had a lot of
Yep.
ideas that he wanted to use, and then ideas that obviously we need to follow down, patents, things like that. So I think there was close to 15 or 20 patents we had to get around on becoming a slip back 2-blade system. So it
Yeah.
wasn't
Oh,
easy to
wow.
make it, but we had an idea what we really wanted and how that clip was going to hold the blade. So but yeah, so it gets to that point, we get development time, and then internally we have a couple tests that we do right off the bat. There's a layered foam test that we know it has to hit by this layer to be opened up, so we know it's going to open up on a skin or a hide.
Yep.
Then we also have we call it the guillotine. It's basically a weighted system. We drop the broadheads in, so it has to pass through wood, it has to pass through steel, it has to pass through aluminum. These are all testings we do before we even get to the point of putting them in staffers' hands. So
Yeah.
then we do slow-mo photography to make sure they're not opening in flight, that they're flying true in flight. We have a wind machine basically testing, aerodynamics on them. Then we also do the BMP, which is a practice point that has to fly like a field point. Everybody wants a field point that flies like a broadhead or vice versa.
Yep.
So we made a field point that truly flies like a broadhead. So all that has to come together before we come out with a product. And then once we're close there, then we'll give it to staffers and some of us internally to go test before.
And all that equipment, all these test facilities, that's all in-house. Where
Everything's
right at
in-house,
the
yep.
manufacturing, right
Yep.
when it comes off the line and goes to test.
Yep, 99% of everything we do is in-house right in Michigan. So
How big is your facility?
God, I want to say probably between the two facilities, they're probably 40,000 square feet somewhere in
Nice.
there. So nothing huge, but big enough.
Big enough, yeah.
It's a little town in Memphis. That there are two little small shops. The post office is actually one of our facilities, and then another little backcountry factory that I'll be honest, I don't know what they used to be. The main factory is the old Vlasic factory. So
Okay.
yeah, from pickles to broadheads,
Yeah.
right? So yeah,
Does
so
it
it's
smell
all,
like pickles?
no,
Okay.
it
Oh.
doesn't surprisingly. So
You ever been to Terre Haute, Indiana?
yeah,
Yeah, and then how it smells like just
straight
soggy
vinegar, yeah.
death and paper. And him thinking it stink like pickles made me think of Terre Haute. You just drive through Terre Haute and you're like, I want to be anywhere else right now.
It's like going in the thumb in late summer and all they do is smell rotten sugar beets.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Oh,
The
yeah.
other smell it gets my wife is the smell of Burger King. Her and I worked at Burger King in college, and like she get downwind of Burger King, and she gets like just starts gagging.
Jeez, oh,
That's
Pete.
Random
funny.
tangent.
Nope,
That's what I'm here for.
That's what Justin offers to the
Hey, I
podcast.
love
Is
it.
these random
Anything
Burger
food
King
related.
stories. Yeah, the fridge. It's always getting food. So then, you mentioned Dudley, and the knock-on guy. He's
Mhm.
big in all the archery stuff. He was a champion in like archery shooting. What other people you guys working with out in there in the field, and just kind of that's either pro team or staffers, or who do you guys?
Yeah, we work with depends on the brand, but we work with a lot of different people from like Jason Matzinger from Into the High Country, which is a giant version. One of probably our biggest plug into conservation is working with him and all the projects he works with you name it. To the guys down like in Ohio where we have Ben Rising with Whitetail Edge, Team Radical. We have Heartland Bowhunter that pushes the broadheads for us. Man, there's a pile of them. The bone collectors, we've been with the
Okay.
bone collectors on the
Mhm.
broadhead side for
Yeah.
over 20 years. Gritty, which is a big filmmaker out west. He's working with us on the bows and the broadheads. Stealthy Hunter. I mean, kind of have a big. I mean, I could sit here and kind of check
Yeah,
off
yeah.
a list all day. We got a couple smaller guys that have been working with us on the Montana rifle side. Matt Singer's one of them. Big time crit. Martin Chag. So kind of some of the Western supporters of us. So it's kind of where we're going to start with the rifles.
Do you ever get to go hang out with those guys?
I do.
As part of your gig?
Yeah. So I get to do a little bit. It was kind of how I got this gig. I was already the guy that was talking to those guys and hanging out with them and trying to hunt with them. And, I came back from one of the total archery challenges in Utah. And my boss is like, hey, why aren't you going for the community position? I'm like, dude, I'm locked in on sales. Like, I loved it. Like, it was always my gig. And he's like, not anymore. And I'm like, oh shit, let's have a
You're
conversation.
too nice.
Bro.
You gotta, people like you too much. We got to
know?
get you in the community.
So so that's kind of how I got to spring from it. So so I've been able to do some axis hunting with like Matt Singer in Texas. Hunted with he's one of the old guys from Seek One. Jay Maxwell. It's 46 Pursuit. I got to hunt with him in Ohio this year. Who else have I chased with? So a little bit of everything.
Have you been to Hawaii to do the axis
I
there?
haven't done the Hawaii
okay.
axis. So at some point, I've got a really good spot in Texas that's too good to pass up. And once you lose your spot, you lose your spot. So like between me and another buddy, we try to gather as many guys as we can and try to do that hunt this year. It's if you haven't deer hunted in April or May, it's a lot of fun.
Oh, I bet. That's awesome. So how often are you traveling? Are you just gone nonstop, or do you try and I mean, hunting season gets in the way, but you're also hunting while you work, I guess.
I am hunting while I work. So quite a bit. So this time of year is all of our sales shows and our kind of our community shows. Like I'll be at Western Hunt Expo starting on the 12th or I think the 12th of February. Already did ATA. I was at Dallas Safari Club. We had some guys at Normal Safari Club, small shows to big shows to traveling for hunts, total archery challenges. I try to do 3 to 4 or 5 of those a year. So try to find the coolest ones and make sure I can go on those.
Are you going to be at TAC in Michigan?
I will be at
Crystal.
Well, there's 2. So
there's the one
Boyne
in the UP.
is back. Oh no, we have 3.
Oh, really?
So Boyne is back open and TAC back to back. Or sorry, Crystal and Boyne are back to back weekends this year.
Oh, I didn't see the Boyne launch.
So so there is going back that way. So I haven't decided which of those 2. If I might go to both, but I'll definitely go to one of those 2 and spend the whole weekend. The UP I'll probably miss. I love Montana. I love Utah. One of the starter ones is always fun. Texas or Oklahoma. For anybody that hasn't been to TAC, go bring your buddies, bring your wife, whatever it is, just go have fun. They're the best archery shoots in the world, man. I mean, they're just
total
incredible.
archery challenge, right?
Total archery challenge. Yeah. Sorry, I say TAC. It's second nature to me now. So, yep.
That's awesome. And you guys do giveaways there, just product demos and just allow people to kind of hold it?
But, I mean, don't ever say not to come to the booth and ask for a hat or a pack of broadheads or something. There's always something under the table. Now they say this, we'll probably have to bring more.
You're overwhelmed,
right? Your budget just doubled.
But yeah, there's always, it's so much fun. It's turned the archery community into, I hate to say it, I love the target side of the world, but it's so commercialized and so sports forward. It kind of took the fun out of it for a lot of us. Where TAC is, I mean, it's going to shoot with your buddies. It's out doing your friends. I mean, I have this story from 12 years ago. I was in Utah, one of the very first ones when it turned from bowcast of the bird to TAC. A guy come off the mountain and he just had a backpack full of broken arrows and a stick bow, and he was grinning ear to ear. And I was just like, man, what's going on with this guy? So I walked up. I'm like, hey, how was the shoot? He's like, that was the best shoot ever. And I'm like, and he just hands me his card, which I think that was the first and last scorecard I've ever seen TAC. Nobody keeps score, and it just had ends and Y's in it. And I'm like looking at him, like, I have no idea. Like, it's supposed to be 6, 8, 10, whatever the scores are. And he's like, yes, I hit the target. No, I hit the target. And there was a lot more no's than there were yes. But this guy had a recurve out shooting 100 yards on, a 3,000-foot descent mountain. It was just like incredible. But to that point, still, I'm like, this is different. This is a different community, a different feel for archery and just being out there. So we're always going to be a part of it, from sponsors to being there with the bows or the broadheads. Like, it's just a good way.
Does the family of brands do it, or does G5 have the standalone?
G5 and Prime.
Okay,
so if they ever do something in the rifle side, I'm sure we'll be diving into that too. But both brands. So we'll have all the broadheads there. We'll have all the bows there. You're welcome to come shoot anything, test anything we have in the booth. So.
Very cool. We've been trying to get there at the Crystal one.
Okay.
And so it's just, for us, it's a capacity of volunteers. And
I can understand.
And I don't think I could fathom sitting there all weekend and not shooting.
Right.
And so I've got to find somebody to cover the booth while I go run around the mountain for a few hours. And so that's been our challenge. So I'm actually still trying to get up there this year. So hopefully I'll see you over there.
Yeah, hit me up and we can I won't tell this to everybody, but there is secret ways to get on the course before they open. So,
Okay.
yeah,
Oh,
so-
okay.
well,
Maybe
for
we'll just
us,
go up.
while you guys check the booths out, we'll be sneaking up. So,
Yeah.
Okay.
so yeah, hit me up
No,
on that
we
one.
need to do a
So,
special podcast from
Yeah,
there.
well,
And the
who-
three of
yeah.
us will go.
Yeah.
yeah,
Who
there
says
you
we
go.
need a booth?
Yeah.
Yeah, true. We could just
We
go.
have a corner.
No,
You
no,
guys
that's-
can do a
that's how it
podcast out of the
becomes
Prime
work.
booth. So,
Okay.
yeah,
There's our invite.
We have to record an on-site podcast.
Yep.
there we go.
Yep.
That'd be a good time.
All right.
So back to
Anything to not be in Lansing, basically.
Yeah.
Well,
basically.
yeah,
This is the worst
Especially in
place
the
on earth.
summertime. Up north in the summertime is the best.
exactly.
So you got G5, you
Mhm.
got Prime, you got Montana Rifle Company. Just what should everybody know about the companies? What should they know? If you're looking for a new broadhead, why G5? If you need a new bow, I know you have the new bow drop we want to talk about a little bit too.
Yeah, for sure.
And then I know many people might not know about the Montana Rifle Company acquisition. So dive into maybe that first, and then we'll backtrack to the other two brands of the
Yeah,
family.
yeah. So it's pretty quiet. So it's been a project we've been working on since 2021, 2022. We bought Montana Rifles. It's a traditional bolt action rifle company based out of Montana, Kalispell since 1999. They closed their doors in 2020. What they specialized in was Model 70 pre 64. So it's supposed to be American's gun. It's like the gun that, if you're old traditional rifle guy, it's the gun to have in your hand. The biggest concept behind it is we call it adaptive control feed. It's basically a controlled round feed rifle. So a big claw extractor, kind of like what do I want to say? I'll think of it here in a second. But basically, the concept behind it is when you're racking in a shell, it will always hold the bullet. So it's actually got it controlled. So Model 700, which is what most of us have as a rifle, they're great guns. I mean, I have plenty of them. The problem with it in the second follow-up shot, or basically even pulling one out of the box mag, is if you're shaking or you're fumbling around, you can throw a bullet out of the side of the chamber. Not that it happens often, but it does happen. This one's actually going to grab the bullet out of the casing or out of the box and push it in. So at the whole time of cycling, it will always have control of the bullet. So you could hang upside down if you wanted to and rack rounds in and out of this system.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a gun that your second shot's going to make that difference. We're really excited to bring a fully built rifle into Michigan.
Yeah.
There's a lot of ARs. There's a lot of parts like that are put together, casted, things like that. This is 100% billet machine, CNC machine rifle done in-house. So we're not buying parts. We're not putting them together like a lot of rifle manufacturers are. Nothing wrong with that. There's a lot of great rifles out there that are built that way. But this one's 100% built in-house. We do the barrels on an old school button pull machine, CNC. We do the triggers. It's you can put a Timothy trigger in if you want, but it's got a very simple, easy 2-pound trigger on it. It's got a 3-position safety, just kind of very old school, rugged rifle. That's so you can basically buy a rifle that and have something for a lifetime. The cool is we're doing a heritage warranty to it too. So if we really wanted to bring wood back. Wood has kind of
Wood
lost.
stocks.
Yeah. Wood rifles have kind of lost their luster. Everything's gone to carbon or synthetic stocks. There's something really kind of sexy about wood. You know? So we've taken the grades of the wood up, but to go down that platform, it's kind of the rifles that we probably got from our dads and our grandpas are not synthetic rifles. They're not ARs or not things like that. They're the old beat up wood stock guns that are sitting. We might not use them a bunch, but we have them, right? So we brought a warranty back to basically the lifetime of the gun, as long as it's stuck within the family.
Yeah.
So you can pass it on to your son. He can pass it on to his son. Or you can pass it from grandfather to grandson. Will be done for the life of the rifle. So we've kind of brought something
That's
back
super
that,
cool.
It can last hundreds of years as long as the brand's still there.
Yeah.
As long as it's one that's covered, through the family.
So is this going to be a single platform with multiple calibers? Is it multiple platforms?
So right now it's based off of one action. So it's the M2020 model action, basically. And then we're going to have a couple models right now. We have a Junction, which is a wood stock gun. And then we have a carbon stock version, which is kind of more vertical type grip with the same action on it. Right now we have 6.5 PRC, 6.5 Creedmoor, 7 mag, 7 PRC, 300 Win mag, 308. And now we're just wrapping up a new project, actually 2 right now. We have a 375 H&H coming out with built-in sights, everything like that. So kind of old school with a great price point on it for a guy that's looking for an African safari gun that doesn't want to spend $1 million.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Right.
I mean, I'm not saying it's going to be cheap, but I'm not going to say. I mean, I was just down at Dallas Safari Club, and one of the first guns I picked up in the Krieghoff booth was $144,000. I'm like,
Sheesh.
my house is
right.
right here, right?
Yeah.
So we want to put something into people's hands that's affordable, but something that's super, super quality. So we're excited about that. We're gonna have a standard, which is gonna be a synthetic with a stainless. That's gonna be more the Alaska version, and then we're gonna have more of an African version that's blue and wood. And then we
That's
just
awesome.
teamed up with a company out west, basically Rock Slide Forums. I don't know if you guys are on the
Yeah,
Rock Slide
yeah.
Forums. We teamed up with one of the guys, basically a team on Rock Slide that's part of Unknown Munitions Shoot to Hunt brand, and we're bringing a gun out at Western Hunt. So it's going to be a short barrel with their Rock Slide stock on it with a couple cool features, and we're going to launch that one at Western Hunt. So right now we basically have 4 models based off the same action.
That's awesome. And the caliber choice sounds like some pretty heavy loads too.
Yeah, we're going right after kind of the kind of new hot and heavy rounds. I mean, we will be bringing back the 30-06s and the 270s
Cool.
and 280 Acklys and some of that stuff. We want to just kind of get the stuff out there, get them, people using them,
Right.
and being we're kind of going down that traditional twist. We got to make sure we bring back those classic calibers,
So the question you're going to get in Michigan, though, is when are you bringing the 350 and 450s?
When guys want to spend up for 350s and 450s.
Right,
yeah.
right.
So
That's
the guns are going to retail standard is 2,500, 2,600. So right now there's not a ton of guys that are going to go out there and drop that kind of ching
No.
on it, but there is more guys starting to think about it. So I think
Mhm.
we will be able to at some point, maybe if we can take some costs out of it, but not take out any of the quality, we might be able to bring something to market. But till then, we're going to kind of stick on those kind
Do
of
you
longer
think that
actions.
it's just a range thing? Like just like a 300 or 350 Legend effective range 200-ish yards. Same with 450, 400 Legend. And they're like, I can kill something with a Savage at 200 yards just as easy as with something. Is that
I think that's exactly what
because
it
almost
is.
everyone I know that has one has a
I
Savage,
shoot
maybe
a
a Ruger
Savage.
American for
Yeah.
that 350, 450.
Yeah, or they might even, if over by us, you have Randy's that kind of custom made a bunch of these. So
Right.
guys kind of jumped up a little bit, but they didn't really. Yeah, I think it's just a cost factor. It's is it really a rifle? Is it more of, is there using it as a replacement for your muzzleloader? I don't know. It's kind of strange because people don't seem to mind to spend money on rifles.
Mm-mm.
Oh
But those
no.
two
Yeah.
calibers, guys don't seem to want to spend
No.
any money on, which is crazy.
No, yeah.
That is interesting.
Yeah.
I went. Hey, I do. I have a Savage 350, and then I have a couple really nice deer rifles, or really nice up north deer rifles.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm,
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
with you. And I've never put any thought to it, but maybe it's just that it's a 200-yard gun, and that's all you need it for.
I think that's exactly the thought on it. They're like I said, there's some guys that are putting a little bit better into them, but not really.
Yeah.
I don't know.
No,
I don't
yeah.
know. Like I said, if you guys start getting some calls after saying, yeah, we want one, we'll take a look at it. You
Yeah.
know? So, but yeah.
And so they're for sale. The line is up and running.
line
You guys
is
are
up and running.
selling. You guys
Yep.
are online. You guys are doing it. It's all ready to go.
Yep, MontanaRifleCo.com. We got a couple dealers I can just throw off a hand, just kind of going across the state. So like Williams and Davison to.
That's where I did hunter safety as a kid.
That's where I went.
Yeah,
so,
yeah, yeah.
They're one. Frank's up in Pinconning,
Yep.
Jay's, just kind of up that middle quarter. There's 3 right there. Any dealer can really get them, So
Yep.
if there's a shop that buy you that wants them, let your local dealer know. But yeah, we're adding dealers every day. So we're
Awesome.
starting a little slow. We want to make sure the rifles are done well. So, it is a little bit of a wait time on a new order, but we do, we're shipping pretty good.
Now, are they already being made in Michigan, or are you still working on transitioning
No,
them?
100%. So
Okay.
we've been shipping for about 8 to 10 months now.
Okay.
Yeah. So everything we didn't really, I don't want to say this in a bad way. We didn't get everything we wanted from them, but we got the things that we really needed, the old school button pulls for
Yeah.
the barrels, things like that. We brought in a lot of investment in our side, but we bought some new 5-axis CNC machines that are strictly for this project.
So that was my question, was like, how did it go? Because you've got the entire production facility for G5. You've got all the bows being manufactured. Did you guys add on, or did you have the space, or is it just totally crammed in there
It's
now?
crammed.
Okay.
We did some changes on the bow manufacturer side and the broadhead side, so we just kind of changed some things up there, so it made a little bit of a room. But yeah, it's all new engineering. It's all new people. We didn't want to pull away from 2 brands that are in progressively growth
Yep.
right now, so we had to kind of separate that internally under the same umbrella. So like some of us, like myself, I'll do all 3 brands. Our sales team does all 3 brands. Marketing does all 3 brands. Other than that, it's mostly kind of separated under the roof.
So you get to try those out too and have fun with those, not just broadheads.
Yeah. So it's nice to sneak off on a Tuesday and go shoot a rifle at lunchtime, So no, we've been able to play with a lot of that. Like I said, I kind of work the show, so I got to be a little bit in knowledge with it. So been able to work with some of these projects, and it's pretty cool. It's definitely a different world. Like I know the gun side of the world, but I didn't know the gun side of the world till you get into
how
it,
deep it goes.
Well, that's what I was going to ask too, is being primarily an archery company and having multiple archery brands. What was the strategic direction of wanting to acquire a rifle company? I mean, where did you guys think that fit in? What was kind of the thought process behind that?
I kind of joked with you guys before the podcast started, as everybody asked us, so when you guys having a crossbow? Well, we don't have a passion for a crossbow. We'll make broadheads for them. We'll support them that way. This was our versions to get into crossbow. I mean, we're all hunters, so it just kind of was an extension of us. One, it was a little bit different timing during the year, so we didn't have to focus as much on producing as many product at one time of the year. It helps us spread the load across the time of the year that it does compared to archery. But just in general, just another direct extension of the hunting side of it, where we if we have a more, how do I say this? If there's more opportunity just to be out in the woods as a group, we're going to do it, and we're going to bring more products.
Yeah, one more season to be able to have a tool for, right?
Yep.
So what's your longest shot with one of the rifles so far?
So I personally haven't killed one with our rifle yet. My longest shot is in the 600s. I killed a mule deer at that range.
Okay.
Wow.
What about targets? Have you done a pretty far target shot?
I've gonged at 1,000.
Okay.
Wow.
So you got steel.
What caliber did you use?
308.
308.
So,
okay.
Yeah, which is like everybody's, 308's outdated. It still pounds.
It's still so
pounds. So.
Have you shot much of the 7 PRC?
So I have shot plenty of them. So I'm a 7mm fan. I have 2 or 3 7mm at home, and then I have a 28 Nosler at home that I absolutely love. But it's a Ferrari. It's a finicky little gun.
Yeah.
So when we brought the 7 PRC on, it's pretty cool. I would say it's generally inherent. It's not as accurate as the 300 PRC or the 6.5 PRC, but with a little bit of fine tuning, that's one badass round.
I read something not terribly long ago that maybe manufacturers rushed to development with the 7 PRC kind of before the round was ready.
I don't know if it was,
or maybe vice versa. Maybe the round was ready and manufacturers. I don't know. I was just reading. That's why I asked about.
No, you hit it right on the head there. We were noticing it when we were developing. We didn't do any differences in chambering the guns. We did it the way we want. We did it the old school button way, and we were finding a little bit of accuracy issues with it, but I think it was more round consistency. And I don't know this 100% or not, but I've heard guys talking that they've found different ammo in the same case of the same box of, sorry, not ammo, different powder in the same box of ammo from bullet to bullet to bullet, just because
by grains or by actual manufacturer.
Different powder manufacturers or different kinds of powder within the bullet, same box. So, and I'm not saying that's the truth, but just there's been a lot of talk what got it there. We've been able to dial it in. I mean, we've been selling a lot of 7 PRCs. I mean, it's an awesome round. Like if you're a 7mm fan and you want a little bit heavier bullet, I would say it's going to be the future. I mean, there is the new 7 Backcountry too that we're taking a look at that just came out. Same thing. It's going to shoot a big heavy bullet with high pressure, but it's a steel case, alloy case. It's like 80,000 PSI. So it's going to be something to take a look at. Super high pressure.
Yeah.
That just came out. So I think that one's the one going right after the 7mm craze from them too. So I mean, we're looking at that one. We haven't chambered anything in it yet. So.
When I got my last rifle, I wanted it at like an auction, and I asked the distributor, I'm like, you got a 7 PRC or 300 PRC to send instead, and they didn't. So I didn't get one, but it's on my list.
That 300 PRC,
one of the PRCs,
is awesome. It's a big chambered gun, so that's why we haven't had it. It's it'll take a little more work than just standard swapping out a mag box and things like that. But it would be definitely something I would look at for sure. I mean, yeah.
So what brand is your favorite? I mean, you talk guns all day, you talk broadheads, you talk bows. When you're at the shows, what booth do you like to staff the most?
I like all three, I mean, there's different stories for each. I still, to this day, I love talking broadheads. I mean, we're kind of fortunate because I think in the archery world, there's 2 categories everybody wants to talk about is bows and broadheads, and we're in both of those.
Yeah.
Just it can be a 6-year-old kid up to a 90-year-old guy that can walk up to you and have an awesome story with a Montec, or the amount of bloody pictures that we probably shouldn't see on a daily basis with the Megavite and the T2.
I can only imagine how much you guys see that, because even us at shows, like the amount of people that come up to us and are like, "Oh, look what I shot this year."
We have show bingo that we do. So we have like a bingo card of like things that happen to you while you're there. You know, it's like someone makes a sexist comment, someone shows you a pitch you didn't ask to see, someone
for sure.
someone tells you this. So we have fun playing show bingo.
But I can only imagine you have to see so many
It's
animals.
incredible. It
Yeah.
really is, you know. So yeah, that's my favorite by far. I mean, I love the bows. I mean, especially with the new stuff that we're coming out with. I mean, we push the limit on bows when it comes to, we're not just putting a bow that's quiet and deadly at 5 feet. We want a bow that's 100 yards and makes you shoot better. So I mean, to work with a brand that we think so far out the box on that, I really like that side of it too. And then, you know, I mean, it's a whole different world when you're talking, I shot that animal at 800 yards or 1,000 yards.
I can't imagine.
You know, it's starting to be pretty cool on that side of it.
Coriolis
too.
effect and wind drift and all those. That's just different.
All that, you know, stuff that I'm like, yeah, I can shoot a bow at 40 yards. You know? Like, it's a whole different world for me. So, but yeah, I would say broadheads is my favorite by far.
Yeah, and so you mentioned, you know, Prime and pushing the limit on the bow. So dive in a little bit about Prime. You know, how did that come to be part of the G5 family? I know that, you know, Quest got absorbed and kind of they're all one now. And then we want to talk about the new bow you guys just dropped in December. But how did Prime come to start?
Yeah, so basically, like I said, the guys have a passion for archery. We were actually doing manufacturing for a couple different companies.
Like risers and stuff?
Everything. We were shipping bows to dealers at one point for for 2 manufacturers. And we were doing most of the work for them. And we were like, why are we doing this when we could do it ourselves? And that's when Nate came out with the original parallel cam on Prime. So we started with Quest, which is kind of, I would say we kind of got pigeonholed into it. It was a great bow, but we kind of got forced into it with some matters with another brand. And then that's when Nate came out with the parallel cam, which is basically a split cam that fought cam lean. Same kind of thing, you know, it was Nate just kind of thinks outside the box when developing. Him and Scott are 2 engineers, and Casey really think outside the box. So we've been able to kind of grow that brand. We went to a center grip about 6 years ago. What that is all bows. The center of the bow is the arrow. The problem with that is now the center of gravity is above your hand. So this is something I always like to say to people. You know, when you shoot a bow, everybody's like, "Oh, I want a bow that falls forward towards the target." Why? You don't have a rifle that falls out of your hand. You don't have a shotgun that falls out of your hand. So we made a bow that absolutely stays steady after the shot. So when you shoot or hold our bow, it's kind of like holding this pop bottle for the guys that can see. So like you have to balance something above your hand, but as soon as you put it below your hand, center of gravity pulls it down. So that's what we've done with our bows. So when you get our bows on target, they want to stay on target longer. They want to stay in the center longer. They'll get you on target faster. So that's where the center grip's kind of been. And then we've taken those things over the last couple of years and really kind of confine them into certain things. We have a swerve on the bow that matches the top of the bow. But what we did this year for the new bow called the form, basically we're taking a new form in archery or a new form in bows, is it's about 50% carbon, 50% aluminum. So there's been a market for carbon over the last couple of years, and they're great and everybody loves them. The problem with it is majority of the carbon out there isn't lighter than aluminum.
Yeah.
So you're really not getting a big benefit there. You know, everybody wants them because they're warm to the touch. 8 out of 10 carbon bows have aluminum underneath the grip. So you're not really getting a warm grip. And then, you know, just manufacturing consistencies is just something we weren't looking, you know, Nate's been looking at this for about 10 years and he went all over Europe. He went all over Asia. Every time there was anything new in carbon, he was there. Like we went to one thing. Oh, you got to be here, Nate. This is going to be the break. You know, this is the next step in carbon. When he gets there, they basically had a projector like we used to use in middle school where they put the thing on the board.
And they're white with the clear paper.
Yeah, exactly. The clear paper, and it shows up. They put a grid on it and lined it up on the wall, and then they were lining the carbon up on it. And Nate goes, "This is space age." Like he's like, "This is still inconsistent. Like you can move that 1/4 of an inch, and now that everything's off." So he's just been like, "This is not right." So, and one thing we found is a lot of brands and a lot of things like that through the years, carbon on the bow side of things is you still have to hook it to some kind of aluminum. The limb pocket to the riser is hooked through aluminum. Where you mount your sight is aluminum. Where you mount your rest is aluminum. Where you mount your stabilizers are aluminum. So you're actually adding all this carbon and then putting a bunch of aluminum in there. So is it consistent? So our surface where the center of the bow, where your grip, your sight, your rest, everything there is all 100% CNC machine. So it's perfectly straight. And then the section between that and the top of the bow is carbon tube. So the strongest, most straightest carbon out there is a tube. We've all been shooting carbon arrows for the last 25
Yep.
years. They're super strong, they're super durable, and they're super straight. So why not take that same concept and build a bow out of it? So we have a 34-inch bow that weighs 4 pounds. So it's as light as any other carbon bow out there.
Yeah.
It's super stiff. It's super straight. It's by far our stiffest riser. I think it's 43% stiffer than any riser we've ever made. We put them under all kinds of force gauges and things like that because this is the first time you can see carbon in a bow. All the other carbon bows are painted.
Yep.
This is actually exposed carbon. So people are a little bit nervous about how we were able to bond the carbon to the aluminum. We've worked our asses off and how we did it. I'm not going to tell you how, but it's super.
That's in the patent, right?
It's all in the design. But what we've figured out is we've have over 1,500 pounds of force. And if anybody wants to see it, watch our launch video at prime.com. But we've been able to put force in the center of the risers at 1,500 pounds. The aluminum will actually slip out of the way and nothing's failed there. And then the bonding surface, we actually built a machine that actually pulls on the end cap. So we have like a lug system that we put on this, over 8,000 pounds of force before we have any kind of failure points. And we were hoping for 800.
Jeez.
So we're basically kind of that safety fold of 10.
That's awesome. And so then it's called the Form.
Yep.
The new bow. And then how'd the launch go with it? You guys were at ATA with it?
Yeah, we were at ATA. We launched in December.
Yep.
So we were probably the last bow manufacturer to launch, and everybody was giving a shit because a couple pictures did leak out there a little bit, and everybody's like, "Is that it?" Because it is so different looking than anything else out there.
That's
so
sexy.
yeah,
I just pulled it out.
So
that's
so the first time
girl.
you see it, it definitely can shock you almost enough where
I'm in the market for a new bow.
I would definitely take a look at it. So it looks so different. A lot of guys were unsure, like, is it going to hold up? I don't know if I like it. It's ugly. It's cool. Like, yeah, it just was an art. Like the internet uproar. I think it was probably by far one of the most disturbers in the archery community in a long time. It's kind of funny because everybody out there wants something new in the archery world. They want you to come out with a new bow. Oh, bows are stale. You haven't changed speeds, or you haven't done this in so long. Well, we finally came out with something different, and people are like, "Oh, no, you can't do anything different, right?" So it was good for us because we were so excited to get it out there. And now that people are actually getting it in their hands, I mean, it's been absolutely, a game changer.
Is this a Sitka pattern?
So yeah, we do Sitka,
there you go,
we
Kyler.
do Kings, we do First Light, we do Real Tree, we do
First Light
Mossy
for you, Justin.
Yeah, we got them all.
I don't have that pattern. I don't wear Spectre though. That's the problem.
Yeah, what are you, old Fusion guy?
Cypher.
I got
a lot of old Cypher stuff.
Yeah, no,
which it hurts me that they're done because, well, it hurts my wife. I don't care.
I'm right there with
you.
Yeah.
So. Basically, I told her, I said, the first time a core piece rips, it's all getting replaced.
You're a First Light guy?
I used to be a First Light guy.
Okay.
Nothing against them. One of the original owners was a really good buddy of mine. And then I've been actually wearing Kings lately. I got some friends over there, and they make some great stuff. It kind of fits me a little. I'm not the most athletic cut, so I need a little bit bigger body type. And First Light and Sitka, Kuyu, they're all a little more athletic than I'm designed for. So
yeah,
I'm building one right now, and I really like it.
So when did you first get the handle on? When, like, it launches in December, but how much is that lead time when you and the team are getting it in your hand, shooting it, playing with it? What's that lead time for like that?
So I personally, I'm going to be the odd guy out this time and say I actually shot the aluminum bow this year. So I shot because everybody else wanted the Form, and I can understand it. But playing with them in house, it's been going on 3 years, I would say.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So I mean, like I said, this is about a 10-year project in the making of where we want to go with carbon, what we wanted to do. So yeah, it's been about 3 years. We've actually had bows in house, starting to play with designs. If you watch the launch video, I'll call back to that again. Scott is probably the driest guy we have in the factory, and he's one of our engineers. And he starts the video out with a box of parts, and he's like, "It didn't work."
Oh, geez.
So and that one right there, I think had, I want to say 8 carbon rods in it.
Okay.
And we were down to 4 by the time we got the whole thing designed. We realized that carbon wasn't necessarily the right spot for the right piece, and that's AST. So the Form is the bow, but the technology we're calling it is AST, Advanced Structure Technology. The right materials in the right places is our thing.
Yeah.
So if carbon needs to be there, we're going to put carbon there. If aluminum is going to be there, we're going to look at aluminum. And in the future, if other materials can be used in the right spots, we might take a look at that. So it's really kind of letting us explore and develop on a much faster platform than any other brand can right now.
Yeah.
So I'd say we've had them out there for going, like I said, about 3 years. For about a year, we had bows out there. We had almost 20 prototypes traveling the country this year. If you've seen any of our launch stuff, if you've seen any of our photos, it was probably the most slaughtering bow we've ever came out with. It was like magic. As soon as we
Yeah.
put one in somebody's hands, like, oh, here's 4 dead animals. Here's 4 dead. It was like the ticket for death.
So
Oh,
what
man.
you're saying is you guarantee me more deer
Yeah,
if
exactly.
I buy a form.
Everybody
Now,
out there.
I'll have you know I had my best year ever this year. So
I
you
love
got to,
that.
you know,
Got to step it up.
yeah,
from
you're
there.
gonna have to step it up.
So you didn't shoot this bow this year then?
I didn't. So
Okay.
I was the only one out of the core group that didn't, just because we needed somebody to shoot the aluminum bow. So we
Yep.
we have 2 new aluminum bows this year. So we've had the progression from the RevX to the RVX. So this year was the RVX Plus. We made it lighter, stiffer. A lot of things we did on the aluminum carbon bow or the form we did on this bow. So that's the bow I shot this year.
Awesome.
So.
Very cool. And so then, you got this brand new launch. You guys are you're blowing the minds of everybody in the archery space. Talk about a little bit for the other, just some of the other parts of the line that, youth bows, getting my kid into it, maybe a new shooter, how, because Prime fits a lot of people's like checklist, and whether you're novice, you're new, you're youth. So what else there is in the Prime line that we can look to for everybody else to try and get in there too?
Yeah, so any kids, any small frames, women, things like that, the NXT is the way, I would say, the way to go.
Cheerleaders.
Yeah, exactly, right? It's a fully machined, CNC'd, American-made bow. A lot of those price point bows are coming overseas now.
Yeah.
And that's not something we do. So we have it runs, I want to say, let me think right offhand, 18 inches of draw length to 26 inches of draw length, 15 to 45 pounds, fully machined. It's got a custom grip that pops on and off it to show a kid or a new shooter how to actually position their hand. Everybody wants to grip it by death, but you just need a little kick, things like that. So it comes with that. We make it in a full package, but like I said, it's fully machined. It's a great price point, right around the $450 price. And then up from that would be the Ronin. It's a fully machine. So price point bows tend to take technology out of the cams, the limbs, things like that. You usually get a good riser, but then you don't get the same performance. Well, we thought that was crazy. Like, if we make great performing bows, and especially for somebody to start, they want a good experience in archery.
Yep.
We made the riser simpler. We didn't really cheapen it, but we just made it simpler. And then we put all the same performance in the cams, the limb pockets, everything into the Ronin. So that bow is 26 and a half to 30 and a half. You can get it from 40 to 70 pounds, maybe 80. And it's a great price point. We actually dropped the bow from $850 last year to $799.
Okay.
So center grip. So it's going to have that same balance that Prime has, the same performance, cams that are on our $1,600 form. You're getting everything you'd want out of it, just in a lower price point package. So
awesome. So we're giving you some practice for your upcoming show, right?
Yeah,
talking
exactly.
about all the bows that you're talking about.
Get the pitch ready.
That draw length. Does that like, what percentage of hunters does that cover? Is it like 99%? I mean, because it seems like a fairly standard draw length.
I would say probably 90%, probably 95. So there is some big boys that push that 30 and 31, 32, 33 inch draw length. And then there is some, I would say, either really, really short guys or women that fall in that 23 to 26 that we're not necessarily hitting. They are on the form, but not the form, but the NXT. There's some ladies and some short draw length guys that still want a performance bow. So we just kind of don't have one that fits that. But pretty much we hit almost everybody.
I assumed it was a lot because, like I said, that's what a lot of bows.
Yeah,
not custom bows.
Exactly. And we're a brand that we like to make core items. I think like I said, we have about 5 bows in the whole lineup, where you could go to some of the other brands and they might have 30.
Yep.
We'd rather put a lot more performance and a lot more thought into the 5 we have than just kind of making bows to make bows. There's a lot of great bows out there. I mean, this is one thing I say to everybody: go out there and shoot them all. Yeah. Everybody makes a great bow, and whatever one fits in your hand. I mean, we hope it's a Prime, but whatever one fits in your hand and looks, it's your part, then that's the one that you're going to be happy with.
Go on a Monday.
Exactly.
That's what I did. When I bought my last bow, I went into the shop on a Monday morning, and he's like, all right, you're 28 and a half inch draw length. I'm like, yeah, it's about right. And he goes, okay. And he just kept handing me bows. I shot like 25 bows that day.
That's the way to do it.
It was so much fun. Yeah, do it that way.
That's awesome. And so, 10-year process to drop this brand new form bow. Yep. Anything else that you want to tease or that's coming out, or you guys are excited about in the next year, 2 years to keep an eye out for, that you guys are working on that you can't maybe reveal to us, but, give a little teaser on?
Yeah, I would just say keep a look at what we're doing on the Prime line. AST is not going anywhere. So the new form, there's always going to be new versions of bows. That's the one thing that's cool about bows, is every single year there's a new flagship bow. It's not like a shotgun. I wish it was like that. We'd love to sell 870 shotguns for the next
40 years.
Exactly, right? but every year there's a new flagship. So, if you're not ready for a Form or a Prime this year, just keep an eye on what we're doing. We're gonna keep changing the game. Like, there's no doubt that this system is going to be the future, at least for our brand, and we feel like you're actually going to see other brands kind of jumping down this path in the future, just because you're getting everything you want. You're getting the performance, you're getting the lightness, you're getting everything that everybody wants in a bow, and in a package that can probably evolve faster than the standard bow process was.
That's awesome. And for all of our Michigan, Michiganders, it's Michigan made too, right?
Exactly.
Nothing
Michigan
better.
made, Michigan family, Michigan made. Like I said, we do 99% of everything in house. So
That's awesome. And so I know when we were talking about the outline, what is G5 or Prime or even Montana Rifle as a conservation organization? MUCC is always working to protect our right to hunt, fish, trap, and shoot. Is there anything cool you guys are involved in, or any kind of conservation work that you guys are working on as a company?
so we're starting to do more and more with that. We kind of just, in the past, we just worked with brands, but we're necessarily, I don't want to say getting our monies out of it, but I don't think anybody was getting the factor. It was just a lot of sponsorship dollars in the past. So now we're trying to work with guys like Matt Singer to actually help produce and produce content out there. Casey, our videographer and graphics guy, was actually the videographer on Jason's corner crossing film, where they flew in basically kind of showing what corner crossing kind of stopped in the West. Obviously I'm here with you guys. We're starting to try to strategic partners to be able to kind of start working a little bit more on that stuff. Like I said, we've kind of put the right guys in the place out there on the social side and on the celebrity side. Now it's kind of our job to kind of put our heels in and start working.
Very cool. Very cool. Is there anything we didn't ask you about, or anything you wanted to mention that you came here wanting to let the masses know about?
I would say just probably we didn't really talk much on the broadheads. I know we're probably getting out of time. We've been talking quite a while. We did come out with a new T2 crossbow this year. So there's a lot of Michigan crossbow hunters out there. So I do want to mention that it is a true 500 feet per second plus crossbow. I think there's only 2 out there on the market that can prove that they're hitting those speeds without opening. But I think we're the only one that truly is going to give you a great entrance hole. So there's a lot of broadheads that shoot great out of those broadheads, but more than likely they're open in flight. So that could give you a factor. So we worked really hard to produce that. It'll be hitting the market sometime in May. Dealers are already starting to put orders on it. So I'd keep an eye on it for, late turkey season going into the fall.
Very cool.
If you're looking for a broadhead for these new super fast crossbows, T2 crossbow is going to be an awesome one.
What's the speed threshold difference between one for a compound and one for a crossbow?
So it's not really necessarily a speed
force.
Yeah, it's that force. So you're looking at 180 to 200 pounds is what a lot of those crossbows are pushing, where standard
when they're
bows,
making impact,
when they're just that initial, the amount of weight they're actually holding in those limbs. Like they don't even talk poundage on crossbows anymore. It's all speed,
right?
But you're pushing 200 pounds of
I think
force out of those.
my crossbow that I own is a 180 pound draw.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
so
same.
And the newer ones that are these super parallel ones, they're pressing, if not 200, 220, 250 pounds. So,
like a Raven.
Yeah, Raven, some of the 10 points, things like that. So they're just really producing a lot of we did our testing on our original T2. It was so abrupt. The blades actually flipped 180 degrees the wrong way and actually notched the front of the blades. We're like, okay, that's not going to work, right? Like our mega meats and our dead meats are up to about 450 feet per second. Anything above that, we actually didn't recommend any of our broadheads. I mean, some of the fixed blades, if you could get them to fly, there's just no
there's a lot of flight surface.
There's a lot of flight surface, and there's no tuning. You can tune a bow, you can't tune a crossbow.
Yeah.
So we wanted a simple, easy, intuitive broadhead, and that's where that T2 is going to come into factor.
So for like a 425, 450 feet per second crossbow, what would be your recommendation?
Mega meats all day.
Mega meat?
Yep. Right. Anything above that, I would say T2.
It's my next broadhead then.
Yeah. So either one, I would say either one, even a T2 is going to be awesome at that speed. It just depends on if you want a 3-blade or a 2-blade.
Mm-hmm. My compound's so old. My bow, my crossbow is so old. My compound bow has a higher FPS rating. So by 3 FPS. So,
that's funny.
Yeah, my crossbow's really
so that's dropping in May, you said, right?
That's dropping in May. Yeah, orders are taken right now by dealers. We plan on shipping sometime in May. So maybe we hit the end of turkey season. If not, they'll be loaded up for this fall.
Oh yeah, be ready to go for deer season.
Exactly.
Are those T2s what you'd say for turkey?
That or mega meats.
I've been wanting to do an archery turkey hunt for a while.
So we're working on a project strictly for turkeys.
Ooh, so I like where this is going.
With a Michigan-based guy. He's not in Michigan anymore, so we're excited about that one. That probably won't be till 2026. But But yeah, the mega meat, the T2, body shoot them all day long. I mean, if you really want to kind of shoot them in the heads, it's an option. It's just not that great until small broadhead, a little head that's popping around.
Yeah,
But
tiny neck.
yeah,
Right.
so but yeah, either one of those two. I mean, you want something big and nasty in a turkey. They absorb arrows really weird. So the bigger the cut, the better. So I think either one of those two would be awesome.
Okay, that's good.
Have you done that yet? Turkey with a bow?
I have.
Okay.
I'm a sucker for shooting a redhead with a shotgun. Like it's my one time I like to break out the gun, but I love shooting him with a bow too. So if I have an opportunity, I mean, we need more than one turkey in this damn state. I'm putting it out there. Two birds, guys. Two birds.
I've been working on that for about 3 years now.
we had
that
a
we actually
resolution,
have
right?
a policy to
Yeah,
do that.
Okay.
Yep.
I can give you a glimpse of hope.
I
can't promise anything. So 3 years ago when we started pushing it, the department, me, our CEO, National Wild Turkey Federation biologist, and the head biologist for turkeys in the DNR were in that room on the other side of this wall, and we talked to turkeys. And basically, what we came up with was they were like, back down for now. We are doing a lot more research on turkey populations and turkey dynamics and all that stuff than we've ever done. And they're going to come back to us in 3 years. So sometime this year, ahead of turkey regs being set in early 26. And what the promise was, we'll all come back with an open mind based on the data and see what it says. And turkey hunting could look very different because like there's a new research coming out in the past couple of years where when you kill a turkey is more important than how many you kill.
That makes sense.
So if you kill the dominant, I mean, turkeys are very social. You kill the dominant tom before the majority of nest initiation is over, it could actually have a bigger negative impact on populations than if you killed every tom after primary nest initiation is over.
Okay.
It's obviously a little bit of hyperbole. You don't want to kill every tom, but
Right.
the point is that that when, so we could end up, and this is purely hypothetical, we could end up with a situation where the earlier hunts in April are an even more limited draw than they
Okay.
are now, but you could get a second tag in May or 2 tags in May as the kind of the trade-off. So again, that's just one example of what could happen. They could come back and say, no, we're kind of in the sweet spot right now, and that'd be fine too. But there's a lot of research going on turkeys in the state right now. So it is our policy to search.
So we do have resolution on that.
No, that's awesome. I bring it up because I've hunted all over the country for turkeys, and I think Michigan has some of the best damn turkey hunting in the country. And I would say we probably have a great amount. So I don't want them wiped out, but I think we have an
You
opportunity.
should see the flock that lives here in
Really?
the parking lot.
Oh,
Oh my
yeah.
gosh, it's ridiculous.
That's awesome.
Logan, on one of our other guys, he was leaving the other day, and he had to not run them over because they were just they were walking down the sidewalk.
Oh, that's
just
funny.
right down the street, and we're like, okay, these giant toms.
Come March, we'll bring our turkey calls to work.
There you go.
But I want to take my bow out, but I keep taking new people, and so like I got 5 guys I'm trying to get a bird this year, and I'm the 5th one in line. So
nope, I know how that is. So yeah, no, I get that. I mean,
thank you for my service.
I did actually have a form for turkey season, but I gave up after one morning and shot one the first morning or after midday.
What, got the shotgun?
Yeah, we got. Well, we were driving back to the cabin, and I was like, my buddy calls me. He's like, "Do you see that one on the side of the road?" I'm like, "Nah, it ain't that easy, is it?" We looped around, called it off a piece of private into a piece, off a piece of public or private into a piece of public. And that was my season. So
there you go, quick and dirty,
and dirty. So
that's awesome, man. Well, yeah. So I mean, where does everybody find? What are the websites? Where can we find it? Do you guys do direct to consumer through Prime, or do go find your local dealer?
Dealers only in Prime. So just kind of check out our website. It's g5prime.com. I mean, there's most dealers in Michigan do carry the bows. So I mean, there's probably not one more than 30 miles away. Close here in Lansing is the Demmer Center.
Yep.
Long range in the west side. We have some guys on the east side, Jays, Franks. I mean, they're pretty much everywhere. G5 is the same. You can't not find us. We're even in Walmart to Bass Pros to Cabela's, you name it. We're in those. G5outdoors.com on that. And then Montana Rifles, like I said, we're starting to add to that. It's Montana Rifle Co. But any of our websites or any of our social media, we're super active on the social side. So anytime you want to see something new or anything like that, check out any of the socials. So
awesome. And then there's also from the fall of 2023, G5 was featured in our Meet Your Maker.
We were,
in the MUCC Michigan Outdoors magazine. So members can go back and look at the digital. It's also on the Michigan Outdoors website as well. So even for another little peek behind the curtain, check out the article on G5 and support a Michigan brand.
Most important question of the day.
Yeah.
We ask everybody, how many squirrels do we eat in a year?
Oh, that's not as many as I used to.
That's
So-
a recurring answer.
Yeah. We're trying to make it happen. So this kind of like your turkey story in the parking lot. So
Yeah.
we have abundance of black squirrels in Memphis for some reason, but they're now transitioning into the fox squirrels or red squirrels.
Mhm.
So they're like, I don't know if you've seen our bows. We do some called G fade where we fade them from black to camo.
Yeah.
We have G fade squirrels. So like halfway in their body, like from their hips back is black and the front half is red. And I don't know, I've never seen this
Really?
anywhere.
Weird.
And we've been trying to kill them in the parking lot with some basically fake bows we've made out of old recurves. So we're gonna eat one, but first
Okay.
we're
And
gonna,
you have small game.
Oh yeah,
yeah,
we have
yeah.
the small game head. Yeah. Oh
Yeah.
yeah. No, we're
Yep.
ready to go when we see one. But yeah, not as many as I used to. I used to pile them up when I was a kid.
But
Yeah.
more than 0.
More than
More than 0, yes.
So the
Okay,
next time
good.
you're on, the number will be higher.
Yes,
Yeah.
I will make sure. So
I'm gonna while he reads this ad, I'm gonna look for this picture of the squirrel from Michigan State that Sean sent me a
Yeah.
while back. It's
Okay.
pretty funny.
All right. And the Michigan Outdoors podcast is proud to partner with WM Bayou. At WM Bayou, we believe in going against the grain and pushing the boundaries of traditional lure design. Our team of avid fishermen are passionate about designing lures that deliver more fish and bigger fish to our customers. Our goal is simple: to help our customers dominate the water and make their time on the water even more special. MUCC members now receive 20% off their order with your exclusive discount code found in your member portal.
Awesome. So season talks.
Yeah, so I
Sturgeon.
mean, Black Lake sturgeon spearing happened this weekend. It went for a full 17 minutes.
that's a
Yep.
long season.
That is a long
That is
season,
really
right?
fast.
Yeah.
That's-
Last year
that's
they didn't
from-
have it.
MSU's campus.
Oh my God, that's awesome.
That's my spirit animal.
I was gonna say I think that's my brother. So he's got my genetics.
He's a healthy squirrel.
I'm gonna send this to Tyler, and then he's gonna
I'll
forget
put
to
it-
post it because he
probably.
forgot to post pictures of my deer.
I'll get one of the pictures of the G fade squirrels and send it you guys' way.
There you go.
Okay, yeah, just send that to us too. But yeah, Black Lake sturgeon happened.
It was 17 minutes. The biggest sturgeon speared was 64 inches and 78 pounds, and I believe there were 7 taken.
Yep.
Nice.
So they had it this year. Last year there was no ice, so thank goodness for the cold weather. Got to have a sturgeon season, and right now, small game and
Ice fishing. Raise your
Ice
hand if
fishing.
you've
And,
fallen through the ice twice this year.
Ouch.
Tyler raised his
Ouch.
hand.
Just me.
It was shallow water, so
Yeah.
we are allowed to make fun of it. Be safe on the
You got to
ice.
go ice fishing to fall through the ice, though. So
This is
I'm the
true.
only one that could have fallen.
Yeah,
through.
some of us are too busy working.
It's a
Okay.
busy time
I don't
of
know
year.
who you're referencing.
I haven't been on the ice once yet, so I'm right there with you, brother.
Yeah.
wow, it's still fun. So get out there on the ice.
Yep.
Be safe.
Be safe.
And then
And-
late waterfowl.
Is right now. Yeah,
Yep.
the southern zone
Southern is open until the 10th, I
Yep.
believe.
for the late split. So get out there for that.
So the day you hear this, it's over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
By the
pretty
time you
much.
hear this, it'll be done.
3 days. I think it's
And then we
That's
got
a good reminder, though. A lot of guys don't realize there's that little bit. Like one of the owners shot a doe, whatever the second to last day of season. He's like, "You should go out hunting." I'm like, "Matt, it's tomorrow." Yeah,
Yeah.
I know. That's what I'm telling you.
The landowner buddy of mine where I hunt by my house, he texted me last week. He's like, "How come I feel like I lost a friend because deer season?" I'm like,
It's
seasonal depression, dude.
exactly.
Like I'm just sitting here sulking. Like I don't know what to do with myself anymore.
just keep watching your countdown to bow opener.
It's 240 days, something like that.
That's why I said you got access in the spring. You can
There you
deer hunt
go.
in the spring.
I have
There's
no
all-
desire to go to Hawaii, but I'd go to Hawaii to
Texas.
shoot some.
I go to
Texas.
Texas. If you got any opening spots, let us know on
All right,
that
we'll
trip.
keep you in the loop.
That'd be fun. I don't care. I'll go to Texas.
Steve has been a podcast where he's trying to bogart someone's spot.
No, I'm not.
I'm okay with that.
I'm not Bogart anything. I said if somebody drops out, it's not someone's spot that they lose it. Not my fault.
Oh, Logan's gonna love it.
All
right.
Well, Brian, thank you for coming in. It was great to chat.
I appreciate all you guys.
Definitely, man.
Yeah,
Keep us up to
glad to
date
meet
on
ya.
anything you guys are doing.
You got
If there's ever a chance to do some content or video stuff too, man, we'd love to get it out to our membership.
it. Sounds awesome.
And I guess keep making awesome shit.
We appreciate it. No, we appreciate the support, guys. I mean, everybody in Michigan, that's where our roots are. That's where we're staying, So we really appreciate everybody that's listening and been supporting us through all these years. So
Awesome.
Very cool.
We'll go follow Prime, G5, Montana Rifle Co. And yeah, we will see you next episode.